Hello? Okay, hello. Welcome to the first Facebook lecture of Heritage for All initiative. And Heritage for All is an initiative that is exactly that, to make heritage available for everybody. So social media, of course, is the one that can provide us this opportunity, and we will use it now. For the first time, I'm very flattered for this invitation. Thank you, Heritage for All team. And I hope this opens the door to many others after me to share their knowledge about heritage and experiences and exchange knowledge. So after this, we hope to be more experienced on all these technological issues on Facebook also. So I'm here with Ana Cunha. And I want to thank also the Ovar municipality, because I'm visiting Ovar right now in Portugal, and they were very, very nice to let me do this streaming from their conservation lab. The conservation lab is called ACRA, and they have very, very, very good initiatives in all the tiles that they have here in Ovar. So. So what we are going to do today, we are going to speak about ownership and how feelings of ownership and also legal ownership, of course, can lead to long-term conservation. It's a very important issue in cultural heritage, because not just legal ownership can lead to conservation, but also to work on the principles of ownership as a feeling can lead us to a good conservation strategy. We are going to have to shut down the video now, and I will continue with the presentation, and then after this I will come back with the video, and then we are presenting some case studies from NIA, from the museum and the foundation where I work in, and also the strategies and initiatives that they are doing here in Ovar. Okay, so I'm going to the presentation. I hope you enjoy it. So my name is Juliana Strogan, and I'm a World Heritage professional. Right now, I'm a Collection Manager and Conservator at NIA, the Norwegian Industrial Workers Museum Foundation. Under my responsibility is the collection of Rjukan Railway, the transportation system that once linked Rjukan and its fertilizers to the rest of the world. This historical railway is one of the 4 pillars of Rjukan-Notodden Industrial Heritage Site inscribed in the World Heritage List in 2015. This nomination and consequent inscription on the UNESCO World Heritage List was only possible because of ownership. Not a legal form of ownership, but the kind of ownership that comes before all the laws and that has accompanied cultural heritage since the first times of mankind. So what is ownership in the first place? We can see here Oxford Dictionary's definition is the act and state or right of possessing something. And if we turn into business and economics, in the businessdictionary.com, ownership is defined as the ultimate and exclusive right conferred by a lawful claim or title and subject to certain restrictions to enjoy, occupy, possess, rent, sell, use, give away, or even destroy an item of property. This is the dimension of the Western concept that we most commonly use. We can see already how dangerous for cultural heritage the use of these given powers can be. Because since Edward B. Tyler's definition until the ones from today, culture and consequently cultural heritage are always concepts linked with societal sharing, meaning that the ownership powers held by one individual or a group or a company, whatever, can at the same time be violating the ownership rights of one or most probably a group of individuals sharing a certain culture and not the same definition of the concept or the same laws. This dichotomy is very well exposed in one of the articles we shared during the last week, where Brian Noble analyzes the relationship between First Nations peoples and Canada state with regard to different ownership concepts. He calls it owning as belonging versus owning as property. Now that's what happens when two different cultures clash over some kind of property. But even inside the same group, this conflict can arise when the legal ownership over an asset does not coincide with, let's call it, the cultural ownership. So let's go back to Rjukan to visualize. Rjukan Railway faced closure in 1991, and it was immediately planned to be dismantled by its legal owner, Hydrotransport. But besides the legal ownership over the transportation system, there was other owners. The owners that had an emotional link to this place. They lived and worked around the line, some were even born there, and had a very strong sense of belonging. So hearing about the destruction of the reality of their world was devastating and is impossible to accept. So speaking about industrial heritage, it's very important to introduce another concept, the one of ownership culture, not cultural ownership, but ownership culture, something that comes from the business world. Very superficially, ownership culture is an organizational business model where all the employees behave as a company was their own. Ownership feelings are encouraged as a way to promote efficiency in business. And that's logical. If you feel as the company is yours, you will try to make better deals, you will treat clients better, and you will search for more profit. And also, and ultimately, you will fight for the survival of the company, or at least its representation. And this is exactly what we are speaking about. Because in the case of company towns like Pullman in the United States, Braxton in the UK, or Rjukan in Norway, the ownership culture comes from the very beginning. It's almost intrinsic to the local community and can better or worse be worked by the company owning the town, but it will surely be present, as the success of the company is directly related to the quality of life of the workers and their families. Yeah. So yes, destroying a part of their now cultural heritage was not an option, even because more than just feelings were at stake. Rjukan Railway, with its electrified line and the railway ferries, used state-of-the-art materials and technologies from the beginning of the 20th century, and the community, even almost 100 years after, was still aware of its value. The most active individuals organized, and in negotiation with the legal owner, Norsk Hydro, the Rjukan Railway Foundation was created in 1996, and the legal ownership of the railway was transferred to them, where here we see the path from feelings of ownership or cultural ownership to the legal ownership and consequent conservation of cultural heritage. Just to finish the story, in 2012, the Rjukan Railway Foundation was merged with the Norwegian Industrial Workers Museum Foundation, where I work in. In 2015, Rjukan-Notodden Industrial Heritage Site was inscribed in the UNESCO World Heritage List, with the Rjukan Railway as one of the 4 supporting pillars of the nomination. So we have several pillars to this nomination, but I will speak about this later. We analyzed the case of Rjukan Railway, part of a very new World Heritage Site under a Western community ownership, but we have many more examples from different cultures, as for example the Uluru Rock in Australia, which was handed back to its cultural owners, the indigenous peoples of the region, in 1985. Generation after generation, the connections to heritage can start to be weaker, results of globalization or the search for a better quality of life. If the links to the heritage are not continuously worked, the younger generations will not value their heritage as their predecessors, and when it comes to the time for decision-making in matters that concern this heritage, they can and most probably will choose the alternative to heritage in the name of economic benefits or development. And here lies one of the main issues in conservation of cultural heritage, development. So should we stop development in areas where cultural heritage is to conserve? No, it was tried before, it didn't work. Why? Because there's a natural feature in humanity called evolution. Evolution is another name for development, and both are just another names. Both are just another name for problem solving and the search for a better quality of life. Is it fair to prevent one group or community to search for a better quality of life in the name of some kind of heritage? To choose between one or the other? First, it's not fair. Second, it doesn't work. It's like in some cases of urban planning, when the fancy architects change the walking paths in a square, people just ignore them and will continue to walk the organic paths they have always walked before because they work better. Just the same, people will continue to walk to the future even if something is trying to prevent it. And then precariousness and conflict comes. But placing cultural and cultural heritage in the heart of development strategies is proven to lead to success. Sustainable development like this will not just ensure that the community thrives, but will also be one step forward into generational equity, meaning this that we will be providing next generations the fairness to have access and enjoy their cultural heritage while also having a good quality of life. Sounds good, isn't it? So sustainable tourism, cultural and creative industries, and heritage-based urban revitalization are powerful economic subsectors that generate green employment, stimulate local development, and foster creativity. This is the UNESCO Office Brasilia page. You can see it here also. So who are the decision makers of tomorrow? The young generations of today, of course. And how to reconnect to heritage? Education, right. We all know the answer for that. But is education alone capable of anchoring cultural heritage in the inner selves of young individuals so deep that in the future they will never make decisions against their own heritage? I don't think so. But if we put positive experience and most of all emotion together with knowledge, we will sure create feelings of ownership towards cultural heritage. So let's see this from another point of view. Neuroeconomics. So neuroeconomics, it's an interdisciplinary field that studies how man takes economic decisions. Today, all decisions at the level of policy making and local management are in one way or the other economicist. So decision making, social factors, what bias the decision making that we make in our lives and most of all in economic decisions that we take. So social factors, cognitive factors, emotional factors, and biological neurofactors. So here we have 4 factors that that neuroeconomics say that bias our decision making, but there is one factor that we can't work, and this is biology. So we can change the physiology of our brain, but the other 3 are actually very easy to combine with cultural heritage and work on. First, cultural heritage it's a meeting point among individuals. Culture is, as we said before, something that we share, so it's all about creating relationships. Second, education and capacity building can structure a solid knowledge of what concerns certain heritage. Third, focusing experiences and dynamics around cultural heritage can result in emotional memories that are way more anchored in ourselves. I think it's very clear that we are extrapolating the concept of cultural heritage. And as to our main goal of conservation, imagine how hard it is to destroy or harm something that you share with others, that you know a lot about, and that gives you many good memories. Very hard, isn't it? So following this line of thought, we have been implementing in Norway some projects that have been showing some very good results. And I also want you to hear about one initiative going on in Portugal that I'm absolutely in love with, that carries in its form all we spoke here about. Even if it wasn't designed under these specific theories, as you will see, it's intuitive and they certainly know what they are doing. Yes, we are practical and holistic. It's important. So let's see here. Hi, again.
Good morning. Yearlis, on the behalf of the Municipality of Alvar, we would like to thank to Juliana for this opportunity to consider the work of the Municipality of Alvar as a good example, as a good practice to join the population closer to our city heritage. Now we will see some photos about our cities. Behind I'm speaking for you. here we go again. So, Ovar is geographically located in the Atlantic border, approximately 40 kilometers from Oporto and 40 kilometers from Aveiro. Ovar belonging to the district of Aveiro, and it is located in the central region of Portugal. Ovar is known as the living museum city of tiles due to its large number of facades lined with semi-industrial tile. After a visit to Ovar, Rafael Salinas Calado, the first director of the National Tile Museum in Lisbon, conferred this title to us because the scale of concentration allows for the enjoyment of tile panels, converting the city street into galleries as in a museum. The heritage value of this decorative and artistic expression has been increasingly recognized in Ovar, though not only by ACRA, Atelier of Conservation and Restoration of Tile, created in the year 2000 to investigate, safeguard, and restore its ceramic heritage. It has been providing the community with awareness initiatives, instruction, conservations, and restoration building facades, as well as through guided tours with tourist route Tile Street, aims to honor the existing tile heritage of Ovar, raising awareness, stimulating and creation conditions for the rehabilitation of the surrounding facades, and becoming a re-impulse to the revitalization of the urban living of the space. In addition, a tourist route represents a cultural circuit with passage through the most emblematic points of the city of Ovar. At the end of this tourist route, each participant has the opportunity to experience one of the most visible techniques along the route, and in these ways to understand the heritage of Ovar and stay closer to our heritage. In this sense, we create the game Go for Walk. To play this game, we have to buy a tile in one of the tourist offices of the county and start discover its pattern in the streets. It will be in one of the facades in our streets, city streets of Ovar. Tile activities take place throughout the year, although for the second consecutive year, we decide to create an event with a 1-month program that takes place in May, the so-called May Tile. The May Tile is an event that has a mission to think and work the tile in heritage, tourism, artists, educational, and contemporary. The broad range of program activities are all free and include guided tours, workshops, exhibitions, and awareness-raising activities. These programs aim to bring the population closer to this heritage, that they can experience the city where the tile is our identity element to protect, and creating in all participants of the actions a feel of protection, appreciations, and belonging, highlight a desire for preventive conservation, which is very important not only in Ovar, but in all cities in which tile is present in history and the local identity. This program has not only reached the local population, but also visitors and tourists, which makes the result quite expensive, and the diffusion of the sense of belonging is ranged and embedded in local communities. To sum up, the tile is thus a distinctive and differentiating element of identity with history of its own in the municipality of Ovar, in which preservation of the identity and history of the city helps to understand the past and plan the present and the future. And I think we are. So I'm at your disposal to answer any question, and I think Juliana will be at your disposal too.
Yeah, of course. I will just summarize the two projects that we are working with in Norway right now. One is called Memories of the Railway, and Memories of the Railway is a project that links together with capacity building, also the improving the collection of the museum, and most of all, social added values. What are social added values? Are, for example, when we can put together values that are not just knowledge and academical, but are social and can bring people together, connecting people and doing some social work also, as we can see, for example, when we put, I will try to show you the slide that we were working on, just a moment here. So here, okay, this is what I was talking about. This is a session in capacity building of this project, Memories of the Railway. To put the presentation. No, it's good enough. But what we are doing here, it's a session of capacity building. And this project began because we decided to put together a collection of immaterial heritage in the Rjukan Railway. What happened was that we didn't have knowledge enough, so we needed to start having ourselves some capacity building sessions and to design some strategy. What we thought was, why should we just do this for us if we can open these capacity building sessions to everybody? So we decided to get together with the schools and ask them if they wanted to participate and to share this knowledge with us. So they started to come also to these sessions of capacity building in technical issues like filming, like sound, like light. They were very excited because young people, of course, they all loved these new technologies, but also because they were getting in touch with the workers, the former workers of the company, and the people that lived around the line. And I can tell you that we had people with more than 100 years old speaking with teenagers for more than 3 hours in a row. So this doesn't happen quite often. And both parts loved it, and they want to repeat all the time. So we are very happy with this result. We are very happy with this project. It's a 3-year project that we will seek funding for. Of course, funding is always an issue, but try harder. Just that even in Norway, it's an issue. Yes, it's true. So in the end, this project is not over yet. It's in the 2nd year. Right now, we are expanding to more schools, also in Notodden, the other town that is a World Heritage too. And we are very happy with the results. So we have very good feedback. The elder people are very happy because they can tell their stories. We film these stories and we get this into the collection of the museum. And as you can see, it's almost the same resources that we use to get capacity building for ourselves and to make available this capacity building also for the students. Also in history, we give them capacity building. And the other project that we have, this is the last one. It's called We Are the Line. It's in English. This name, it's not like this. Vi er Rjukan-banen. It's called in Norwegian, and this project is it's also very interesting because it goes into the theory of touching. So for me, I'm a conservator. It's very hard to accept the fact that everybody is touching the collection of the museum, but we choose specific objects that we know that they will be okay with touching. We also protect and we explain everybody in the project that they can touch the objects, but with some careful. They have gloves if needed, and they touch the objects, and from there they share the thoughts of which object should be more important than the other, why. There are different groups. So there are groups of people that are grouped already from before. They are like a group of skiers or a group of friends, an association, the scouts. They come together and they are grouped already from before. And from this point, they share because they are very familiar with each other, so they can share their thoughts about museum objects and about which should be a priority to the museum. And then we take notes, of course. We have the collaboration also of the academic community that helps us analyze the results. And in the end, we have material enough to know what the community thinks about these objects, what should we focus on when trying to explain and to disseminate this information to the community. So the community, I don't remember if you saw one of the, I don't know if you saw one of these articles that we shared during the week. It was also about touching and about feelings of ownership. So how can these street sellers can sell you better their objects if you touch them, so they handle the objects to you? This is what we are doing also. We are not selling them, but we are creating feelings of ownership towards the collection of the museum. So I hope that that the results of this we can use for many years from now. I hope we can also continue with this project, not just from this short period, but yes, from now it has been a very good experience, and we are sure noticing that people are more aware of their heritage. Of young people, of course, are coming to ask questions, to know about their collection, about our collection, about their collection, and about their heritage. So I hope this inspires you also to do some initiatives yourselves in your community. Top-down approaches are a little bit over now, so start doing things yourself. Start to think about solutions for your problems, because every community has its own issues, and the people inside the community know better how they can treat them and how they can engage the youngsters also. It's very important to think about custom-made strategies. So focus on yourselves. At this point is important for our heritage in a whole. Thank you for your attention. And we hope that we see you again some other day. Bye. We are open for questions now, so just post your questions and we are trying to answer as fast as possible. Oh, sorry.
Is there a relation between the feeling of and
so we have a question here that is there a relation between the feeling of ownership and citizenship and personal sacrifice, and how do you see this relation? Well, there's always a little bit of personal sacrifice in getting initiatives done, but from the citizenship and from the individual as a personal sacrifice, I think it depends a little bit of the culture, because as we working in foundations and working in municipalities, so public sector and also private sector, but a little bit like teams, we can and will sacrifice ourselves a little bit, but it depends a little bit on the culture, I think. So yeah, we are. Yeah, I'm sorry. We are, of course, we are sharing this video in a very strange way. What do we do now? Sorry about the technical.
Point to PowerPoint.
PowerPoint, and
yes,
then
and you can see here the questions.
Okay.
And answer.
Okay. Okay, we see the questions here. Okay. I hope I answered your question. You know that different cultures are not always aware of the deepness of issues of other cultures. So mostly I would say that working in teams and giving a little bit of yourself, of course, it's important for this, and also starts with the community. Also, we see the community doing some initiatives for and being proactive on coming to us and giving their own time. So I think it's about this, about giving a little bit of ourselves, if we want to, of course.
And I think we don't have any more questions at the moment.
So, okay, we wait for like 1 or 2 minutes and then we will be over. We can still answer your questions in a written way in the page. So just post your questions and we will try to answer it during the day or even tomorrow.
Yes. Nothing more? No.
We also are available. I have my contacts here. You can see in the bottom of the slide. I can put the slide bigger. Okay. So here you have the contacts. You can also contact if you have any further questions. For now, we will thank you and stop streaming now. Thank you very much.
Thank you.